From Good to Outstanding challenged good teachers to become even better. Now top inspector Claire Gillies is back, revisiting some of the teachers she saw last time. She'll observe them once again to see if they've moved on in their teaching. So will they deliver an outstanding lesson?
With all these teachers I've come back to see again, although they may not have all been seen delivering an outstanding lesson, it's clear they've all got a better insight into what makes an outstanding lesson, an outstanding learning.
In the series From Good to Outstanding, we challenge teachers from reception through to Key Stage 4 to go from good to outstanding. Top Inspector Claire Gillies observed them teach. We gave them one-to-one expert advice in their subject areas. And a few weeks later, Claire went back to see whether they'd upped their teaching from good to outstanding. In this programme, Claire will revisit secondary modern foreign languages teacher Rebecca Wills.
Looking back at the whole process, it was a very stressful process at the time, but looking back on the impact it's had in the last few years has been really helpful actually.
Rebecca teaches modern foreign languages at Beale High School. When she was first filmed, she was in her second year of teaching. Now, 2 years on, Rebecca reflects on how taking part in the programme has influenced her teaching.
Okay, here we go. Blauwe Augen. Blauwe Augen. Blauwe Augen.
Looking back at that sort of section, what I like is it's lively, and that's what I really like about teaching, that the kids are engaged. But I do look at myself and realise I'm killing myself. I do see the energy I'm giving out.
When Claire Gillies first observed Rebecca in the spring term of 2008, she was teaching a Year 8 class.
Also, wir haben hier Team A und Team B.
It's quite interesting having the lesson time on there that it was 17 minutes. I don't think my teaching vocab is going on for 17 minutes. That's quite, when I look at that now, I wouldn't let it ride to 17 minutes.
Brune Augen.
Who?
Brune Augen.
Not Brune Augen. That's Brune Augen, Adiola.
Brown Augen.
Claire's feedback picked up on Rebecca's need to get the students working much more independently.
I think going for more pair, group,
It's less
scenarios,
intense for them.
less intense for them, but also it gives you the breather.
The big challenge for me in the programme was, of course, how do I make it less of me and more about the children?
To boost Rebecca's teaching, she had an intensive day of bespoke CPD. Pauline Bullen was brought in to offer expert advice.
If you were going to tell me what percentage of the lesson you have the children flat out working, what do you think that percentage would be?
10%.
And where do we need to switch that?
Well, it needs to be maybe 60-40 or 70-30. I would go to them.
But I would push you a little bit more to think
80-20.
80-20. I really would.
I don't think I will ever be 80-20 because I've asked a lot of teachers and everybody agrees that's a really hard percentage to really go for.
We're thinking now about getting them to do more work and you not so much work. So we're shifting now to them doing lots of pair work to reinforce the bit you've just done. Yeah?
Pauline gave me a lot of tips as to how to break up the lesson. You've taught your vocab, now let them practice 2 minutes with each other, and she gave a series of activities, and that sometimes when I'm teaching it comes to me, yes, just quickly throw that in. So that's been really helpful to have like a magic box of tricks in the sort of in your head.
Communications coach Ulrika Schulte-Bauchloh worked with Rebecca to use her voice more effectively.
Voice, how would you describe this?
I would put myself as well articulated, but the pace is very, very fast. Ulrika said things like holding my pen causes tension. So, and I love to hold a pen, I don't know why, so I've made effort to not strain my voice as much.
Brune Augen. Blaue Augen. Brune Augen. Blaue Augen.
And also looking at the communication side, my voice has been better. I have been for speech therapy since.
Back then, Rebecca had just 2 weeks to take all the advice on board and try it out in the classroom.
I'm going to say a heading and then I'm going to pick your group and you need to tell me, what does the paragraph start with? Chris, Julius Geburtstag.
Wie siehst du aus?
When it came to the crunch and Claire returned, Rebecca tried to shift the balance of lesson towards more independent learning.
So you need to work out if his birthday is the 14th, when is his?
However, it didn't quite come off.
Rebecca, thank you very much again for letting me share that lesson. And a very different teaching style to the one I saw before.
Yeah.
I think if we stand back and look at the whole hour, maybe the 3 sessions was quite a lot in one for a whole go. I think if we're honest, you didn't really get them to outstanding learning in that lesson. I hope you'd feel that you hadn't got, they didn't learn as much as I'm sure you wanted them to learn.
So the comment Claire made at the end, I think was valid, that I'd switched completely from it was all me, then it was all the kids.
Despite all the expert advice and Rebecca's hard work, Claire did not rate that lesson outstanding.
I'm hoping now the balance has been readdressed and she sees I'm good at what I do when I'm at the front, but equally the kids are good at what they do when they're working.
So now with 2 more years teaching under her belt, Rebecca prepares for Claire's return.
All right, today, die Objektiven sind Schuluniform.
She's asked her head of department, Steve Davis, to give her some critical feedback.
Also, das Hemd. Das Hemd. Der Rock. Der Rock. Das Hemd. Die Hose.
I think Rebecca's in a very good position to get that outstanding. I think she does have to take on board that it has to be less of her and more of them.
I'm going to say an item of clothing. You have to, for example, if I said die Bluse, first person, to get die Bluse. Okay, and we'll see who gets the most points. Die Hose. Die Hose.
Come on, Rocky, this is this.
I like to be at the front with the kids because it keeps them entertained, it keeps them happy, they enjoy the lesson, and I like that because that makes me feel good.
Die Schuhe.
The shoes, come on, Nevin!
All right, Nevin.
But I equally know that they learn more when I'm not just telling them all the time, do this, do that, but actually I give them something challenging to do.
What I would like you to do is to take now the sheet, and I would like you to try and find out for each word, is it masculine, feminine, or neuter?
It's not feminine. No, it's either neuter or masculine.
The class that we're observing this time, I find they are quite good at working by themselves. They want to, they do ask questions, and that's really good because that's helped me to try and develop that skill of letting them become independent learners.
Right, we said we were talking about die Schuluniform. What was the second thing we were talking about? Adjectives. Again, I'm going to give you 5 Minuten. There are some English words, there are some German words. In small groups, I would like you to match them up. Okay?
Is this spotted? Yeah, I think the pumpkin's spotted. Big. Oh, Klein, got it. Klein's small, isn't it? Yeah. Is it? No, wait. Oh, big. Klein. No. Don't know. No, big is gross. Gross is big. Then it's Klein, small. Kind of. Gross is big. Yeah. We're small.
I think I've developed this questioning technique as well, which I've been thinking about quite a lot in terms of not just having the same students answering the questions.
Let's see who's super, super clever. I'm going to help you. But it's a very difficult one. Here it went. Der, die, das. Okay? So what do you think you might add? If you get this, you'll be genius. Amtoj.
Das Rot.
Okay, das Rot. No, it has to add something to it. Okay, Billy, what do you think you have to add to the end of it?
An S.
Okay, good. You can't just add an S though because we can't say rots. So, okay. Umgekehrt. Good. Okay, well done. You are genius. Let's go. Okay, so I wear a new tie. Off you go. Okay, what gender is cravata? What does it end in, Kajal? What do they all agree with? E, E, E. If it ends in E, everything else ends in E. Next one. Schuhe and Klein. Looking this way, very good. Okay, there's quite a lot of people coming up with stuff. The answer, as a lot of you have put, is kleiner. Can't say I wear a shoes. All right, thank you.
Rebecca said it was a very good lesson and there's some outstanding features there. The outstanding features certainly that the students were all fully engaged. I thought for something that was a very, very tricky grammar point, it was a nice, simplistic way of getting that point across. But at the same time, I'd have actually wanted to hear them say the words and actually being able to enunciate the adjective endings as well for the different genders, for the masculine, the feminine and the neuter. So speaking activity quite often offers immediate feedback.
2 years ago, Rebecca got some tips from expert Pauline Bullen to get the class to use more target language.
It's amazing how, when you completely take away your voice, they become very focused on you and they have to watch you and then they can give you that.
If I was to go like, would you get them to just one person to respond or to get them all to try and then say it?
You can vary
so
it.
I can just
you can vary it. Don't be afraid to persist with it because it takes a while to get all these techniques to how you want them. Because what's going to happen with the way I'm suggesting you change your approach is it is going to become less easy to control and it's going to become messy.
It's the day of Rebecca's observation with Claire.
The lesson today, I'm trying to now consolidate everything we've been learning in the last few weeks. I want it to be that it involves 3 skills. The idea is that it's auditory, it's oral and it's a reading text as well. So, and they've got to focus on their grammar. So I'm hoping it is actually a challenging activity. And that it's not too challenging because then they'll give up.
Claire's back. After 2 years of working hard on her teaching, will Rebecca be able to impress Claire enough to get that outstanding?
Last lesson we were looking at somebody's description of their school uniform and we did pick up some adjectiven.
Rebecca is teaching a 60-minute lesson on the pros and cons of school uniform.
We are going to do an activity that involves you being sensible, but also a little bit more active and showing some energy. Eine Person, zum Beispiel Ikra. Sie kommt vorne. Sie liest. Okay, sie liest, sie muss lernen.
She must learn it by...
Ja? Und dann sie rennt wieder zurück. Und sie sagt, Mira, und Mira muss ausschreiben. You need to speak German. You can't just go back and write it down. You have to tell your partner, yeah, I want to hear you speaking and then writing what you say. Eins, first person have you come?
Total. Yeah.
You're right, finde die Uniform total lästig und altmodisch. Ich finde die Uniform.
Remembering Rebecca's 2 lessons, she has many teaching strengths, but there were 2 issues that emerged during those lessons. One was how much energy she was putting into the lessons, because she's very enthusiastic about teaching German, but in a sense how little the students were working hard enough. And the other issue was that perhaps they didn't hear and speak enough German in the whole lesson to really help them acquire language fluency.
Wir stollen auf den Uniform or something.
Is it that one? We are proud of our... Is it we are?
Yeah. Wir stollen. Yeah. Don't, that's cheating. You can't cheat, Elliot.
G-L-E-I-C-H. Same. No, it's not.
Nice.
Oh, crikey, you're doing well. Uniform. All right, can I just point out that Nevin is only 2 away. So, Sonny, you're going to describe to me what we're doing. Wir hören der CD zu. Wir hören zu.
Listening to the tape.
Ihr müsst schreiben.
You must write.
Die Meinungen.
The opinions.
Die Opinions, ja. Also.
Eine Schuluniform.
All right. Hands up. Are they vor oder nach, gegen Uniform, Mira? Okay, so they're against, yeah? They're against. Hands up. Why? Warum? Rocky, what did you get?
It takes away your individuality.
Well done. And they said, alle sehen gleich aus. We learnt that on the sheet. Kajal. Good, well done. Everybody looks the same, okay? So, the key is here. You've got your vocab we've been learning, the phrases you were learning, transferring to now pick out the key words there. What we know to do, and as I said, for your speaking exam in particular, if you want to get those higher grades, the A's and the A stars, you have got to form sophisticated opinions. What happens when we put weil or das into a sentence? What happens? Nazia?
The verb goes to the end.
Well done. The verb goes to the end. Okay, so think about what your verb is in this sense. Okay, so hands up, Kaushik. Where is your verb in this sentence?
Is.
Good. Is, yeah? So where will that have to go?
At the end.
Good. Rocky, tell me the sentence.
Ich bin der Meinung, dass die Schüleruniform doof ist.
Sehr gut. Okay? You just choose your verb, send it to the end.
So how does Claire rate Rebecca now?
Rebecca, it's been great to come back and see you in action again. Thank you very much. I want to pick up the key thing that I remember you sharing and the people who sort of supported you in the first programmes about, you said a wonderful remark about it's all me I've got to become more pupil-led, I'm giving, and one of the people on the programme said, if you don't, give less, you'll sort of blow a fuse and exhaust yourself. Now, I felt there were real signs in that lesson that you were trying hard not to exhaust yourself so much in the lesson, and that's something you've obviously been thinking about and working on. I also noticed some real pluses when you really get into the German. You do some very good sort of miming and arm movements, and it's great because you really help them to see what the vocabulary means without always telling them by movements, facial expressions, and that's wonderful. So sort of keep that up. If you stand back and look at that lesson as a whole, which was the section that you felt perhaps didn't work as well as you'd hoped?
The beginning activity, I was trying to get them more kinesthetic. I think some of them didn't get out of it, the vocab, and struggled when it came to the challenge.
Exactly. I think you've absolutely got it, because I just jotted down that the whole idea of the sort of running up and coming back and saying what you've read to your pair or whatever, and maybe it was just that little combination of a bit too much for them and touch overload perhaps, and the sort of two together meant it just wasn't one of your very best lessons. But I'm absolutely certain that there's so many wonderful features going on in there, and when they all happen you're going to be an outstanding teacher, I'm sure.
Claire acknowledged that I had obviously made effort to really try and hand it more over to the students, which is what I guess I've been trying to do. Everybody progresses through their career, and I think it's a work in progress. It's taking on new ideas, new concepts and adapting them. And so I think it's just a case of you just have to keep on working at it each year. You adapt your lessons, you think that was good, I'll take that into the next year. That wasn't so good, let's rework it. And I think it's a process for everyone, and it's just something you keep on doing.